Hey guys, this is Joseki bringing you an audio commentary, my first audio commentary for WC Replays. This audio is copyrighted 2007 WCReplays.com, so please don't go stealing it or something bad might happen to you. Get the replay loaded up and paused at the 2-minute mark, and I'm going to talk to you a bit. So today we're going to be watching Human vs. Undead with one of my favorite players playing in the game, Vex_Marquise. He's a player at US West. He's been playing this game for as long as I know it existed. And he basically taught me everything I know. He's sort of my mentor, uber gosu human player that I've been training with and playing with ever since I started about 6 or 7 months ago. And today we're going to be watching a game on Twisted Meadows, and Vex_Marquise is going to be doing some really interesting making a lot of interesting strategic decisions that are, in my opinion, going to very, very heavily influence the outcome of the game. And I would say this is not cookie cutter. It isn't your standard. You wouldn't see this in a pro game, and you wouldn't, most oftentimes, you wouldn't see even this expansion style in a pro game. And I think that's one of the better things about this replay that I'm going to be showing you guys is that as a human player, I often feel like humans, when they complain about imba this, imba that, or they'll get upset over certain matchup, quote, imbalances, end quote, they're really not imbalances, it's just your choice of strategy. Excuse me. I would say the vast majority of the time players are going to be like, oh, you can't expand versus Undead for this, and this reason. If you don't fast expand, you'll lose the game. If you don't do it this way, you'll lose the game. This is how Sky does it. This has to be the best way. And I'm going to tell you right now, all of that is total bullshit. There are, I bet you, a zillion #1 humans on, or not #1, but top humans on the ladders that don't do the same thing every time, and they don't copy Sky, and they don't copy Todd. I'm sure there are some out there, but what I'm trying to say is invent your own style. As a human player, I think, aside from Night Elf, you have a lot of liberty with the kind of tactics you can do and the kind of options you can make. In this game, Vex_Marquise is going to be opting to do a Tier 2 expansion as opposed to his fast expansion, and he won't be creeping his lab on Twisted Meadows. We'll see how this works out for him in a second. We're going to get the replay unpaused in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. Okay. Vex_Marquise is now calling 4 peasants at his main, and he's going to be going down to creep the orange knoll camp. One of the reasons for this, in this particular strategy, is because he's going to be doing a faster tech with no arcane tower. He's going to need all the lumber he can get to keep his tech speed at least somewhat equal with the Undead player. If he were to have an incredibly slow tech speed, I don't think his harass would be able to last long enough for him to be able to get an expansion up, and it would become very difficult for him to get away with the strategy he's going to be doing this game. So, in a standard game, you can always expect the Undead player to come and harass you with his solo Death Knight at the start of the game. Whether they're going Fiends or Ghouls, that is something that all Undead players are generally going to be doing. And while you're playing, it's important to keep in mind a few things about being harassed by a DK. One of the main things I see players often do is they continue creeping, even with the DK standing right there. You will find that if you watch a pro game, if you pay a lot of attention to exactly how they deal with harassment, most oftentimes the human player stops creeping and attacks the Death Knight and sort of chases him back and basically does damage to him. If you're not inflicting damage on the Death Knight while he's harassing you, he's going to be able to harass you forever, and his harass is going to get increasingly more effective. Generally speaking, you're going to want to do as much as you can to harm and make it difficult for the Undead player. Oftentimes, if you think you're going to get coil sniped at a creep, you can use your S key, which makes your footmen stop attacking, and you can sort of fake them out and make them burn a coil on a creep, and then you just finish it off yourself. Too bad there's none of that in this game. Maybe in a future one. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold. Okay. So, Vex_Marquise, this game has decided to play the aggressor. Most oftentimes in Human vs. Undead, if you're going to be doing a standard cookie-cutting strategy, the Undead player is going to be the aggressor. Now, why is this? Okay. The main thing is that the Sky, Todd, common style, the cookie-cutter style of playing versus Undead on this map is that you creep out your Goblin Lab, you get a Shredder, you put a farm next to the lab, and you expand. You just creep your lab, and then you expand, and you get level 3. That's the general consensus on how the map is played. I think that if you're not pro, you're gonna have a lot of time getting really good at it. I mean, personally, that's still how I play on TM. I admit it, I play a very standard cookie cutter game versus Undead on TM, and that's totally fine. And it works, but it's a lot harder than what Vex Marquise is doing. People think that Undead is sort of this untouchable, you can't beat them until you have 80 food tier 3, which is very, very much so not the case. If you're looking at this game right now, with 4 footmen in this water elemental, Vex Marquise is kicking the shit out of Baba Black. And the thing is, they can't... he's stuck at level 1, Baba Black is. And if he's stuck at level 1, that means he doesn't have aura, and beyond that, it also means that he can't really do any efficient creeping. Because they're going to need all their ghouls on lumber at the start of the game to be doing a standard tech, so that they're not late, and they can get their lich and their destros and all the things they need to beat you. And if they take off their ghouls at the start to creep, they're not going to have the lumber they need to be able to tech as fast, and that's going to hurt them a lot more in the long run. Okay, so about now, the Undead player is already beginning his fast tech to tier 3, the human player has just hit tier 2, and has begun training his MK. Now, this move, this particular tactic Vex Marquise does is very reminiscent of the the Undead versus Orc matchup, where the Orc player is going to harass with his Farseer, then take his TC, his Strength Hero, solo creep it, and make an expansion, which is exactly what Vex Marquise is opting to do here. Black has a rather limited number of ghouls and a rather limited number of lumber. He doesn't have the time or money to be able to expend it all. His Death Knight is an extremely low HP from fighting early, and the Undead player is really screwed right now. He has like an 80 HP Death Knight and some ghouls and not even 200 lumber, and he's going to need way more lumber than that to be able to, like, you know, win the game. So basically right now, Vex Marquise knows that the only camp that the Undead player is capable of creeping is this orange camp right out front of his base, and he just saw him go inside his base. He's doing some sort of scouting with this water elemental and using his Archmage to make sure that the Undead player doesn't leave his base. He's trying very hard to be in a very map control-ish mode here, this game. And right now he creep checks the Undead player and immediately starts focusing his Death Knight. If you notice what's going on right now, with only 3 ghouls, it's becoming very, very difficult for the Undead player to keep them alive. He's about to lose 1 ghoul here, it gets purged, and he just continues focusing the Death Knight, and the Undead player is essentially forced to run away from this camp, losing a ghoul. While all this is happening, he is creeping his MK and making an expansion with 3 pocket towers on his MK right at his natural. The Undead player is basically unable to, I mean, I guess he could run right at the MK right now, but he has no real way of knowing. He's about to go off and scout it right now.